Just recently, Jay Slater, a missing British teenager, was found after 29 days of relentless searching. Sadly, it was not the outcome that everyone was hoping for. Today, we'll be taking a look at Jay's case, along with other disappearances that completely shocked the world. Starting off this countdown, we have Madeleine McCann. Madeleine McCann was only 3 years old when she went missing while on vacation with her family in Portugal. Theory goes that she was kidnapped while in her sleep. Madeleine disappeared on the evening of May 3rd of 2007. She disappeared from her family's holiday apartment in Portugal. She was sleeping in the apartment with her younger twin siblings when she disappeared sometime between 9 p.m. and 10 p.m. The circumstances surrounding her disappearance led to widespread media coverage and a massive international search effort. Despite extensive investigations by Portuguese and British authorities, as well as private investigators hired by the McCann family, no conclusive evidence has been found regarding who kidnapped her. Over the years, of course, there's been a number of theories and speculations, but nothing has led to a resolution. No one has been formally charged or identified as being responsible for her disappearance. The case continues to be actively investigated, and Madeleine McCann's whereabouts to this day are still unknown. Moving on at number 9, we have Natalee Holloway. The disappearance of Natalee Holloway is the most famous case of all of Aruba's missing persons. Natalee was a senior on a school trip in Aruba in May of 2005. On the last day of their trip, Natalee and her friends were hanging out at a local bar. They were seen hanging out with 3 young men. Natalee was last seen that night of May 30th. She never returned back to her hotel room. It's said that she drove off with a group of local men, all of which were arrested multiple times for Natalee's kidnapping and possible murder, but none were ever convicted. Out of these group of men, one named Joran van der Sloot was the primary suspect. In 2008, while under the influence, van der Sloot said that Natalee had died the morning after her disappearance and that his friend disposed of her body. He later denied this. But his friend came forward and said that van der Sloot paid him $15,000 to dig up Natalee's remains and cremate them with a bunch of animal bones. As of 2023, Joran confessed to the crime and says that he killed Natalee Holloway with a cinder block and left her in the ocean. In our 8th spot today, we have Ethan Patz. Ethan Patz disappeared in 1979 at the age of 6 while walking to his school bus stop in New York. The bus stop was just 2 blocks from his house, but sadly, he never made it. It was also the first time that his parents let him go to the bus alone. He actually begged his parents for the freedom and to let him walk there by himself, something they regret for the rest of their lives. His parents were unaware he was missing until he didn't return home after school. His disappearance prompted nationwide attention and led to changes in how missing children cases are handled. In fact, Ethan was one of the first kids to ever be featured on a carton of milk as a missing child. After his disappearance, police began searching for Patz by going door to door, but to no avail. Now, they did have one suspect in mind, Jose Ramos. Ramos, according to law enforcement, had said he took a child back to his apartment. Ramos told them he was 90% sure that it was Ethan. But on May 24th of 2012, 51-year-old Pedro Hernandez of Maple Shade, New Jersey, confessed to strangling the child. He apparently lured the kid away with the promise of a cold soda and then took his life. In our 7th spot today, we have Jamie Kloss. Now, this is one of the scariest and saddest cases that I swear I have ever covered. Jamie Kloss was kidnapped from her home in Wisconsin in 2018 after she witnessed her kidnapper take the lives of her parents. On October 15th of 2018, Jake Patterson entered Jamie's family home. He then took the lives of her parents and kidnapped her. Apparently, he became so infatuated with Jamie after seeing her board her school bus one day. From there, he knew that this was the girl that he wanted to take. Jamie was held captive for 88 days. She was forced to stay under Patterson's bed for 12 hours at a time and wasn't given a lot of food or water, or even allowed to go to the bathroom. Patterson also put boxes filled with weights around her bed so that if Jamie moved them in attempts to get out, he would know and then punish her. However, on January 10th of 2019, Jamie gained enough courage to push the boxes of weights, escape from underneath the bed, and run. She approached a woman out walking her dog and immediately was taken to a neighbor's house and called the police. Jamie was reunited with her aunt and uncle, who are now her legal guardians. And Patterson was caught and confessed to the and kidnapping. In our sixth spot today, we have Elizabeth Fritzl. This is another very dark and gruesome case. Elizabeth Fritzl was held captive by her father, Joseph Fritzl, in a basement in Austria for 24 years. In 1984, at the age of 18, Elizabeth was lured into the basement of her family home in Austria by her own father. Over the next 24 years, she was held captive by him in a concealed underground dungeon that he constructed beneath their house. During this time, Elizabeth endured unimaginable physical and psychological torment. In fact, she even gave birth to 7 of her own father's children. She finally was rescued in April of 2008 when one of her children, Kirsten, became seriously ill and required medical attention. Joseph allowed Elizabeth to take Kirsten to a hospital, claiming she had been left on his doorstep by her mother, who had abandoned her. Obviously, hospital staff were very suspicious of this, and they alerted the police, which conducted an investigation. DNA tests quickly revealed the truth, that Kirsten was actually Elizabeth's daughter, and Joseph Fritzl was her father. We are now at our 5th and halfway mark with Steven Stainer. Steven Stainer was kidnapped in 1972 at the age of 7 in California and was held captive for 7 years by his abductor. He was kidnapped by a man named Kenneth Parnell. During this time, Parnell convinced Steven that his parents didn't want him anymore and renamed him Dennis Parnell. In 1980, Parnell abducted another boy, Timothy White, and Steven decided to take action. He took Timothy and escaped from Parnell's custody. They walked to the nearest police station where they revealed their true identities. Steven was then reunited with his family. But sadly, Steven's life was cut short in 1989 when he passed away at the age of 24 due to a motorcycle accident. In our 4th spot today, we have Amy Lynn Bradley. Amy Lynn Bradley disappeared from a cruise ship in 1998 while traveling with her family in the Caribbean. She was last seen in the morning of March 24th of 1998. Apparently, Amy spent the early mornings drinking and dancing with the musicians at the cruise ship's bar. It's said that at 1 a.m. they parted ways, and apparently at 5:30 a.m., her dad saw her sleeping on their balcony. By 6 a.m., Amy had disappeared and was never seen again. Now, this case is absolutely crazy. Over the years, numerous people have come forward claiming that they have seen Amy. The creepiest part is that in 2005, her family received an email containing a photo of a woman that looked exactly like Amy. She was photographed laying in bed in her underwear. It's thought that Amy was abducted and is now out there being trafficked. In our 3rd spot today, we have Lars Mattank. This case forever gives me the creeps. If you're a mystery junkie like me, then chances are you have seen the creepy CCTV footage surrounding this case. The footage shows Lars running out of Varna Airport in Bulgaria, climbing over a fence, and then disappearing into the forest. He was never seen again. The 28-year-old German was scheduled to travel back home with his friends. However, he was told that he was unable to because of a ruptured eardrum. His eardrum was ruptured after getting into a bar fight during his trip. Now, no one knows why he fled the airport like that day. He left behind a bag containing his wallet, passport, and phone. Now, a couple of days prior, he did exhibit paranoid-type behavior and was caught on hotel security cameras. He even phoned his mom and in a whisper told her that 4 men were coming to kill him and that she should cancel his credit cards. People think that this strange and paranoid behavior was a result of the eardrum injury. Other people said that he might have sustained some sort of brain damage. Also, the antibiotics that he was on may have had side effects that caused him to become paranoid. Whereas others think that he was a drug mule and that he was wanted by criminals. I don't know, there's so many weird theories, but to this day, he's never been found. In our 2nd spot today, we have Elizabeth Smart. In 2002, 14-year-old Elizabeth Smart was taken from her home by a handyman that used to work for the family. The man was Brian David Mitchell, but went by Emmanuel to the Smart family. On June 5th of 2002, Brian broke into the family's home and kidnapped Elizabeth at knife point. Her sister, Mary Catherine, who was in bed next to her, pretended to be asleep to avoid being harmed. Brian and his wife then held Elizabeth captive for 9 months in a camp in the woods. It wasn't until October of 2002 when Mary Catherine recognized the police sketches of the kidnapper and said that it belonged to their handyman, Emmanuel. As a result, he was captured by police and Elizabeth was rescued from her kidnappers. Now Elizabeth is 32 years old and is a child safety activist, but her case remains one of the most high-profile kidnappings in modern times. And in our number one spot today, we have Jay Slater. On June 13th, 19-year-old Jay Slater flew out to an island in Spain to attend a music festival with his friends. On June 17th, he had separated from his two friends, Lucy and Brad, and he left with two British men. Now, he met these people at a rave and decided to go back to their Airbnb with them. He stayed with them at their Airbnb in Masca, which is a remote village that was really far away from where he was staying with his friends. At 8:30 a.m. on June 17th, he called his friend Lucy, telling her that he had missed a bus, his phone battery was on 1%, and he had a cut on his leg. He then told her that he was going to walk 11 hours to get back to his accommodation. He spoke to a woman at a cafe to figure out bus schedules. The woman said that the bus was coming at 10 a.m., so in 2 hours, but Jay decided to walk 11 hours instead of waiting for 2. His phone call with his friends was the last time that anyone had heard from him. 29 days later, they found his body. His body was found near the village of Masca in a steep and very inaccessible area. Now, officials are leaning towards the idea that he accidentally fell into this area and that's how he passed away. Of course, since this case is so fresh, there's more information coming out weekly, daily, I don't know. So at the time that I'm filming this is all we know. Also, since it is a very fresh case, I hope that everyone can send prayers and thoughts and love towards Jay's family and friends. Also, I'm going to link a GoFundMe if I can find one in the comments below if you want to donate to the family. Alright folks, that's all for today's video. I hope you liked it. If you want to see a part 2 to mysterious disappearances, then let me know in the comments below. And you know the drill, while you're down there, smash that like button, obviously subscribe to my channel. I'm your host, Lindsay Ivan, and I'll see you when I see you. Bye.